Meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. I can ask for approval of this morning's agenda.
I will move to approve today's agenda.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, I can ask for is approval of the minutes dated April 12th, 2021.
Move to approve minutes of April 12th, 2021.
I have a motion and I'll second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I can ask for consideration of the payments dated April 21st, 2021.
Move to approve the claims for payment for April 21st, 2021.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, I can ask Thomas to address us emergency management update.
So, been very busy finishing up, working with Union on their ratio FEMA stuff and with New Providence. Just talked to Tom Bays, the city council person down at Union. They have their final estimate at $330,000 in damages from the derecho. And we've gotten through all of the hard figures for what contracts and stuff had to be paid, and we've got all the documentation of that finished up. So FEMA is satisfied with that, and they're moving on to another section. That's taken us about 3 months to get through that piece. And then still working with public health on vaccinations. And yesterday we had a special meeting with board chair Jeff Hoffman and public health about masks and quarantine and the whole issue in schools. That's come to the forefront. So we're working on that along with trying to get some decisions from the state. And then we're starting the process on Ragbri and Iowa Ride. Thank you. Iowa Ride. Working on those and making plans and working with the sheriff's office and the EMS in those areas, figuring out what we're going to be needing to make those things happen. So,
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Rocky or Megan? Good morning, Rocky.
Good morning. Just to kind of give everybody an update on the numbers, to date we have had 1,815 positive cases of COVID-19 since March of last year. 1,705 of those are considered recovered, which is leaving us with 110 active cases. So we're up a little bit from last week, but still kind of holding steady. As of this morning, 11,103 Hardin County residents have received at least one first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. As far as our mass vaccination clinics go, we have 4 more weeks of second dose clinics, but we are no longer doing the first dose clinics. They just were not filling up as much. So Hy-Vee and Iowa Falls, Ackley, New Cara, and then Medicap and Eldora all have first dose appointments available. So if you're still needing to get a first dose, you can get a hold of one of them or visit our website to schedule an appointment. All Iowans are eligible to receive the vaccine, so we're definitely encouraging individuals to get that. And as of right now, our J&J administration is still on hold. So we're just waiting for CDC to let us know when we can start administering that again. But other than that, I think that's all I've got.
All right, thank you, Rocky. Okay, utility permits, I have none, correct? Secondary Roads Department, Taylor.
The bridge company is done, so they're moving out currently, and then the subcontractors come in to finish the approaches and the guardrail. So like I said, things are still going good. It's been good weather, so we can't complain there. And personally, I've been attending the National Engineers Conference on my computer. It's digital this year, so that's been nice to get my continuing ed credits without really having to leave the office. That's all I got.
Great, thank you. Mark, come on down. You're the next contestant.
Well, good morning. Just
Good
thought I'd
morning.
give you a quick update on some things we've been working on. So I've been working with a project we called Humpty Dumpty since beginning of December. And we've done a lot of work on that, showed them the building 3 times. We did some blind ads to prove we had labor force availability, provided them some estimates on expanding the building, and actually negotiated purchase of additional property that would be available for them. But unfortunately, they determined as they went through their cost analysis that they could not source their raw product at a cheap enough cost to move forward with the project. So they pulled the plug as of about a week and a half ago. So a lot of work for naught. I did have a lead from Iowa Economic Development Authority also on our spec building for a project they called Project Hooch. We submitted information, however, we've not heard anything back from the company to this point. Also had a lead from Alliant, and we submitted information on that, but again, have not heard back on that one either. We did close on a loan for Ag Premier from our revolving loan fund for the purchase of the former Hoxie Fruit Building on the east side of Iowa Falls. They're renovating that for a manufacturing facility where they're going to begin to produce some of their own parts for Zosky sales, just because they've been sourcing some of those from foreign sources, and the supply chain has been hard to get. They determined they could probably do it and have them as they needed them and do it cheaper. So that was a great project. So we're looking forward to some renovation of an old building on the east side, and some additional jobs for Zosky sales. Project Gateway is examining feasibility of a project in our industrial park. They've been contacting local landowners and have been working with 2 companies on improving our internet service in Iowa Falls. And as of Monday night, the city council approved a letter of agreement with MetroNet, and that company would build fiber to the home in Iowa Falls. So that's very important for our economic development going forward. So excited about that. I did put together a visit by Iowa State University College of Veterinary Medicine to Iowa Falls, and we met with Ellsworth Community College. Ellsworth has just started a pre-vet program, and so the 2 are in discussions with how they might set up a veterinary clinic in Iowa Falls that would give students an opportunity to get their clinicals out of the way. And so they seemed excited about that opportunity and continue to explore that option. So we have another project called Beef Jerky, and unfortunately that's kind of stalled at the moment, but we're continuing to explore financing options and land options for that project. And I'm working with Region 6, as Angela has been too, on a grant to assist small businesses with their online presence. That's going to be rolling out in May. There'll be a series of webinars. Why do you need a website? How to build a solid one. Website platforms, integrated e-commerce, grow your business with Google. Do you know where your customers are? I have a Facebook business page. Now what? So also we'll be working with local businesses in assisting them to get an online presence if they don't already have one, or to evaluate and improve their online presence if they do. So that will begin, like I said, in April. I've been working on legislative priorities. IFADC co-sponsored a legislative meeting on childcare, inviting Speaker Grassley and other area representatives to that. And we had local businesses talk about the need for childcare and how it's impacting their workers. Iowa Falls Mayor Newgard is actually serving on the state child care task force. So there are a number of child care bills that are moving through the legislature, and we continue to follow with those and try to weigh in on those as they come up. Also worked on House Study Bill 194, which passed out of committee. Now it's House File 849, and that bill would impact the use of TIF. So I've had conversations with Speaker Grassley and Senator Sweeney on that. We've actually met with Lieutenant Governor Gregg on that and had some comments with the governor when she was in Iowa Falls. So Also conducted business visits with Hardin County Tire, Seaboard Foods, with Walmart, with Martin Marietta, with Van Wall, with Seaboard, as I mentioned, Seaboard Foods, Scenic Living, and this afternoon I meet with Flint Hills Resources. Working on RAGBRAI, working with Engineer Roll on the route through Hardin County and making sure it's safe. And so that's part of my job, as my committee is the RAGBRAI committee. And then I did have a new lead yesterday on a manufacturing firm looking to locate in Iowa. So we had a phone conference call yesterday afternoon, and they plan a visit in May. And then actually on the way over here this morning, I got a call on an inquiry on our spec building. So continue to have things to work on, and that's all I got.
All right.
Sounds great. A lot of activity.
Yep. If anybody has any questions, they can reach out to you at IFADC. Correct, Mark?
I certainly can.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Okay, at this point, I can ask Michael to go ahead and open the microphones for public comment.
So this is Donna.
Morning, Donna.
Good morning. Last week, I spoke slightly unfairly and I wanted to clear it up. Connie's working very hard to straighten everything out, especially in light of these higher assessments. It wasn't exactly correct that I said they weren't answering the phones. They did change the voicemail answer to reflect a more appropriate number, and I appreciate that. Like I said, she's working very hard, and I think everyone should be patient with her. She will get to everyone, but at the same time, I still encourage everyone who's had an increase or even didn't have an increase to check the information the county has. Not just Beacon, but the county as well. And again, be patient with them. They have a lot of work to do, and I appreciate all her hard work, and I just wanted that to be known. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna. Additional comments?
Yes, I guess I'm kind of wondering, everyone can get their vaccination shots, and yet Hardin County, we're still going up with our active cases. So what do we need to do more? And kind of like what's going on and what can we do more to get people to get vaccinated, because we're a small county, and to have this many active cases all of the time in Hardin County, that's a lot of people. So is there anything we can do more to get word out that people should go get vaccinated, or what can we do?
I'll answer that. I think Rocky and Megan at Greenbelt Home Care have done an amazing job, along with our local medical providers, whether it's your first responders to our primary care physicians and specialists, along with our emergency management coordinator. I think they've all done what they can do. I think our media has done an amazing job of making sure that the public are aware. I think the technology in place that can be utilized to find a vaccine when you're ready for that, or if you're ready for that, has been very good. I think it comes down to personal choice and what somebody wants to do with their own physical and physiological well-being, Pauline. So like you said, we can encourage our friends, neighbors, loved ones to get vaccinated, but at the end of the day, it still becomes a personal choice of whether or not you want the vaccine. Additional public comment? Sure, Thomas.
In line of that question, yesterday when we met, there's already 11,000 vaccinations given in the county. There's only 17,000 in the county, and 3,000 of those are under the age that are eligible.
Right.
Thank you. So
Yeah.
we've only got, 3,000 out of 17,000 is,
Right,
we've got an excellent rate on our vaccination rates.
right. So Pauline, just to memorialize what Thomas just stated, with approximately 17,000 residents in the county and 11,000 people having received at least one dosage of a vaccine, and with 3,000 people fitting the demographic group not eligible for vaccine, that would put us at 14,000 people. So with only 3,000 not having a vaccine that would be eligible for a vaccine is a fairly sizable quantitative number for our population. I think without looking at numbers from other counties, but I think that's a fairly high percentage.
So then are most of these active ones then are a lot of these children then that are getting the COVID then?
I'm unaware of what demographic group the active cases are in. That would be something if you'd like to follow up with Rocky. She may or may not be able to provide that data based on HIPAA regulations.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Welcome. Other public comment? If not, I will go ahead and move on to the resolution approving loan agreement and amended and restated indenture of trust for the financing of Hanson Family Hospital.
I will go ahead and make that resolution.
Okay, I have a motion. I'll second that. Any discussion? Hearing none. Angela?
Lance,
Aye.
BJ,
Aye. Motion carries. Next I have is consideration the award for contract of county auditing services. I'm going to ask that this be tabled for the week. I have not been able to confer with Auditor Peters and Treasurer Eichmeyer to determine which direction they'd like to go. So I could ask for a motion to table this, please.
I will make a motion to table.
Okay, and I'll second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Next I have is a consideration of appointment to the County Magistrate Appointing Commission.
Well, Daryl, you reached out to somebody and they said they were interested.
Yeah, there are, the commission has 2 attorneys that are selected by the local bar association members and 3 lay people. One of the lay members recently passed away, and so the commission will be meeting on April 30. So it was kind of an emergency situation. I ran into Dave Rubo. He was dressing up the yard next to the county office building over the weekend, and since he had served on it before, he would be familiar with the, you know, what his tasks and duties would be. And I asked him if he would be willing to serve even just for this particular purpose, and he said sure. So that's when I indicated that we probably need to fill that vacancy, and he was willing to do it. And I checked with court administration, and they were fine. They would welcome the filling of the vacancy through your appointment today. So I'd ask that you approve Dave Rubo to be appointed.
I will make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion appointing Dave Rubo to the County Magistrate Appointing Commission. I will second that. Any further discussion?
That will finish out the term.
Correct. He agreed to finish out the term. He may, I mean, if he doesn't want to stay on, we'll address that later, but it's
Right.
for the full term.
Okay. And you'll contact Tina pending approval
Yes.
momentarily?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next I have is other business. Connie. Good morning.
good morning. My other business is wanting to address the accusations from last week by Donna and Pauline and Julie. Donna, by not answering their phones, she did kind of retract that somewhat. So for that, I'm thankful. We have changed Don's extension, directing people to call 939-8100 instead of his extension. There's 3 phones that currently that ring. There's only 2 of us. We're doing the best we can. And I'm staying late answering, returning calls because I can't return calls when I'm on the phone with other calls when 5, 6 calls are coming in at the same time. Same with Tiffany. And if people don't leave a phone number and a name, we can't call them back. So please do not harass and attack the supervisors. They have nothing to do with our values. They can't change anything. They can ask us questions, but the decision is still ours. So please don't bug them about that stuff. And Donna, I told you on the phone on Monday that I was very insulted at your false accusation of us not answering our phones, especially after I spent over an hour with you on the phone. And then you called back. I asked you to come in. I spent over another hour with you and Bob in person, and I thought we had the matter resolved. And then last Wednesday, when you chimed in and said that we were not answering our phones, that just was not true. We did have one phone call where somebody was yelling and left a voicemail saying that it's unacceptable to speak to a machine. There again, cannot answer the phone if we're already on it. And we're not going to put somebody on hold that we're working with to answer another phone. So leave a message and we'll call you back. And last week, it was also insinuated that there's probably a lot more errors out there. We're human. Everybody can make an error. If you see one or know of something that we have incorrect, we want to get it corrected. We want it accurate. We want it right. And the purpose of doing this, having Vanguard come in and update our tables like we've explained to everybody that calls in, is to have it's more equitable and it's more fair. The base on anybody's property now is it's fair and it's being treated the same. Some think it's not when theirs go up and others have gone down. It's all in how we have the information entered. And if we have it in there, if we have things that shouldn't be there, if you had basement finish and it's no longer there, let us know. We can't fix it without you letting us know. But on the same token, be honest, if you finished a basement and we don't have it, let us know, because by Iowa code, you are obligated. It is your obligation to let us know of any and all improvements that have been done to your property. And Julie, when you made the comment about not knowing what's going on in the office, because Don's gone, you can't ask him, you're correct. He's retired, he's not there. Tiffany and I are the ones to answer the questions. And if you're wondering, yes, I'm qualified. I've done all the testing. I'm on the assessor's eligibility list on the Department of Revenue. So yes, I am qualified. I'm sure people are questioning that qualification because we've made changes. We've made changes that were necessary, that needed to be done, and were long past due. I talked to Don last Friday because his value went up, and he informed me that these table updates had not been done since 1996, which is worse than I even thought. I thought it was 2008. So the updates needed to be done. They're past due. They're done. And so hopefully from this point forward, it's on a more even playing field for everybody. And why some went up, some went down, chances are we had some underassessed, and with the new updates and in our tables, then it has made them, then it increased them to what they should be, and vice versa with those that lowered. We probably had it, maybe we had it a little higher than what we should have, and that has now been taken care of. And believe it or not, we've had some people whose property values went down and they called and were not very happy that they lost equity in their home. So we went over the stuff and we changed them and got them back up to where they were happy with that too. I will add that January of 24, we're going to be on a new pricing manual that is given out by the Iowa Department of Revenue. And we were supposed to be on it for 1 of 22, but with Don retiring, he requested an extension and it was granted. So there could be major changes, upswing, downswings when that comes out, beyond my control. We will adjust things as needed once the new manual is implemented. And then Pauline, I know Tiff went through you when you called. Last week you said that you got nowhere with the office. And I will argue that comment with you just because I know that Tiffany went through with you on the phone and she took the time while our phones were ringing to do comparable properties for you, which is not our job to do. If you want to compare yours to somebody else's, that's your job to do the legwork. But she did it for you. And when she hung up with you, she was under the impression that you were satisfied, that, yep, you were in agreement I know one was Jerry Hammond's that you compared yours to, same acre size, same value. But then when you mentioned last week that you were comparing yours to 10 and 11 acre parcels, that indicates to me that, and when you said theirs was less, that's a good indication that you were comparing residential land to ag land, which you can't do, there's no comparison. Ag land is valued on productivity and CSRs, not market value. And when it comes to valuing ag land, we have no control over it. The NCRS and Iowa State is the one that determined the soil types. They came out and do core samples, and every odd year, ag land values change because it's based over a 5-year average. And so every odd year is an equalization order year, and they drop 2 years and add 2 years. So that average is constantly changing. And if it's 5 years average of good years for crops and bushels produced and cash rent, what land is selling for, then the CSR unit price goes up. And if there's more bad years in that 5-year time frame, then it goes down. So you can't compare ag to residential when you're making the comparisons. So make sure when you're comparing that you're comparing like property. And I will also assure everybody that Hardin County is not the only county that values have gone up. I've checked other counties with people I know where I have family, and all their values have gone up. I was at a district meeting a week ago last Friday, and all those assessors, well, the majority of them stated that they all had increases also. In fact, Polk County made the news that their values had gone up. Public comment has been that we're not real popular right now. Well, I didn't take the job for a popularity contest. It's a job that's got to be done, and each county is in the same boat. The assessors just have a job and they got to do it the way that we're instructed, the way we're trained. And I had a fellow assessor who told me to quit thinking with my heart. He said, you got a job to do and you got to do it. And he says, you'll never make everybody happy. And he's right. We haven't made people happy, but I mean, it is what it is. So I want to thank the supervisors for your time and your support and the changes that we've made. And I also want to state that the assessor's office will be closed April 29th. Tiffany and I are going to board a review training. Neither one of us have been involved when Don was the assessor and with the board of review. And there's, new updates, and we want to do and follow the procedures the way that we're supposed to do. So we'll continue to get as many calls returned as we can during normal hours. I've been staying after hours at night to return phone calls, and I'm coming in weekends just to get my normal work done. So that's what I had to say, and Thank you,
I
guys.
got two questions.
Yep.
How many of these assessments did you send out?
We sent out over 13,000 assessments.
Okay. And the other question is, when it comes to assessment of your own property,
I cannot touch the assessment on my property.
can you explain that process?
Yes. Everything we personally own went up. And I know that the acreage we bought where our son lives, it is not graded and conditioned correctly. And the only way that can be changed is for the appraisal company to come in, and I would have to hire them to do it, and then they have to change it. I cannot change my property. And that's part of the reason assessors are under such tight scrutiny right now. There was one down in southern Iowa that changed her own value. And so it just, as the saying goes, one bad apple spoils the rest. And so we don't change our values. We cannot change our values, or if we do, we'll probably be out of a job. But that, I mean, I can't, and I've got to be careful on, I've had people accuse us of everybody in the courthouse that works here, their values went down. And I argued that fact, and I said, I know for a fact that's not true. Tiffany she was accused of by somebody that everybody that belonged to the country club, their values went down. And she fired back, and luckily for her, she says, I don't live here. She said, I don't know who belongs to the country club and who doesn't. There's not a spot on our website, there's not a spot in our valuations or on our property record cards that say, oh, Lance Grenzo, he's a county employee. Lori Cadner, she's a county employee. BJ Hoffman, you belong to the country club. There's none of that, so the program doesn't assess on what organizations you belong to, where you're employed, how much money you make a year. That was another accusation I got from a guy from Radcliffe. And so if I sound a little pissy, yeah, I am, because I'm tired of the accusations. So I probably shouldn't have said that. If I sound angry, I am.
Hey Connie, when you mentioned Vanguard, maybe for the public's experience, or can you mention why they might be involved, what their
Vanguard
role is?
Vanguard is our appraisal company, and they're the ones that, starting 5 years from now, they will be doing the revaluation project. We have their program. They have the pricing manual that the Department of Revenue comes out with. And the current manual we're on right now is 2008. They came out with a new 2020. That manual goes into our appraisal program. We enter the data as it's given, and it automatically figures what value is put on property. Then from there, I mean, it starts out with a base value. The base includes, of course, your house, you enter the size, it includes one bathroom, a basement, plumbing, so it includes just your basis. And then from there we add, if there's basement finish, if it's high quality, low quality finishes. Informational is how many bedrooms, the type of heat, unless it's geothermal heat, that is, puts a higher value on a property than just your normal basic forced hot air heat. So anything extra above the normal, then that increases value. The number of bathrooms increases value. If you have a porch or a deck, or then your decks, we have 3 levels of decks. You can have a low deck for value up to a high, and then that's a fancier deck. The number of stories in a house, whether you have a basement or not. And Pauline called and said that she noticed we had on theirs that we had a basement. And she said they don't. I said, well, we can get that taken care of. So, anything can be fixed, but in the same token, you have to report what's there and what you add. But that's what Vanguard is they're our appraisal company. Anything else? Okay, thanks. for
Thank
your
you,
time.
Donnie. Additional other business, Lance?
I don't have any.
Okay, neither do I. I can ask for adjournment.
I will move to adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned. Thank you.